Hello guys and gals, just want to do a quick video on how to replace a Liebherr ice maker if you decide to go and do it yourself. The reason I decided to replace it is I went through all the different tests and had an appliance technician friend guide me through it as well. He doesn't live around here, he lives kind of far away, but he guided me through the process. We did all the tests and we decided that we actually had to replace it. And then we got quoted about $4,500 to replace it by a local appliance company, which I found was ridiculous because they said we had to replace the ice maker and both the hinges because the hinges were contributing to the ice maker failing. So talking to my appliance friend, he thought that's kind of crazy. And they quoted us basically double what all the costs for the parts were. And so I went and called the actual appliance company that services and supplies all the parts for Liebherr in Canada, and got a quote from them. Like the tech company quoted us about $1,500 Canadian, and they quoted us about half. So if you do need parts for a Liebherr fridge, you should contact Europarts Canada directly, because when you contact Liebherr Canada, that's who they get you to contact. So this is the cost, which is about half of what the appliance company or the servicing company is going to charge us. So if you do to go ahead and decide to replace it, you will need to follow a couple steps. So first you need to go and actually confirm the model number, which is in the left side of the vegetable compartment in the back. We actually had a manual for a different fridge, so we didn't have the right manual. So it's good that the lady guided me through where to find the actual one and the actual serial number, because it should be registered when you purchase your fridge, and they had a record of our fridge when it was bought and everything. And so when you look at the actual ice maker, there's not that much to it. In older models, you could replace certain parts of it, like the heater or the motor and stuff, but unfortunately, on the HC2061, it is a one-piece unit that you have to replace. And we figured it's probably the heater that's in there sort of broke, and there's not that much to it. There's no water lines. The water line will dump in here. And if you look in the fridge, I guess you can't really see it, but it comes out the bottom of the fridge in there. So at the top of the freezer, there's just a little hole where the water dumps out of, and it just goes into here. Only things that attach it to the fridge are basically these two bolts, and there's one connector. So when you go and replace it, there's actually not that many tools and parts that you need. I do believe there's an anti-tamper bit that holds these on, so you will need that. But once you get into there, to actually replace it is not that much to it, but they are some awkward sort of spots. So it's basically one connector and two bolts. Now, to get at it though, it's a little involved. Now, as you can see, our ice maker is now working, because that is the old model. So we've replaced it already and everything's working again. So one good thing about these freezers is you can lift this whole tray out. I've managed to do it with even the food in there. But you can empty the food out and then take the tray out. Now, you do have to remove the door. So this is one of the steps. So there's not that much to it either. There's one bolt there. Hopefully you can see that. And there's another bolt right, this thing's heavy, right back there. So you have to remove those bolts on the other side, and then the whole door will come off, which will make accessing this a lot easier. So once the door is off, the unit is back there, and the bolts are, as you can see, it's a little hard to see with the focus, but those are the two things there and there you'll have to get at, and then this thing will just lift out. Now, you can do that, or there are also two bolts on the ceiling or at the top of the freezer that you may want to get at if it's easier for you. You will need an extension to get at those bolts, and those are some Torx bolts back there. So you will need an extension with a screwdriver to get into there, but once it's loosened off, the thing just lifts off and you can pull it off. The connector is tucked back, let's see, it's tucked back there. So the connector is, it's basically just two clasps that hold it on. So it's a little fussy to get into there because one's sort of way back there, but there's no actual screws or anything. You just have to bend the tab back a bit on both and this thing pops up. Once it pops up, there's a little tab on the top, flip that open, and then that connector, which is inside the little housing. So you just flip that tab up, take this connector, or take the plugs out, disconnect them. You've already loosened the screws, the thing literally pops off, you pull it out, and then you reverse the process. And I mean, I'm somewhat handy, definitely not an appliance technician. This is not professional advice. So it took me about 45 minutes to an hour, but someone who's more used to this stuff could probably do it in, I don't know, maybe like 20 minutes. So it's really not that involved, but I couldn't find anything about how to replace this ice maker online. So I thought I'd put something out just to hopefully help someone else out, because some of the prices they're charging to try and get this done is sort of crazy. So anyhow, if you decide to do this, hopefully you can get through it just like I did, because once it was all said and done, it wasn't really that difficult. This is really all there is. 2 bolts and 1 connector. And hopefully this helps out someone, and bye for now.